Hey, what's up, everybody? It's J Dreamers, and thank you so much for waiting patiently as I got everything set up this time. I had some technical difficulties with the internet not working here at the house, but hopefully everything's up and running perfectly. I'm just going to test my volume, and we'll get right into our presentation. Volume sounds good. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if everything sounds and looks okay, and we'll get right into it. Now, I was supposed to start at 11 tonight. I apologize in advance. I'll try to work on my timing just in case I have technical difficulties. So I want to welcome everybody that's watching. There's 10 people watching right now, and a few people who've been waiting for quite some time. So without further ado, I would like to present to you our chat on mirror portals, the firmament, and the waters above. We're going to be touching on all three of these and talking about how they're all related. And, well, a lot of us read books. We have read many books and seen many movies where we felt that there was something truthful, evident, even though it was presented to us in the guise of fantasy or fiction or not being real. Even though watching these movies and reading these books, we've never felt more alive. We've never felt more real than when we were right there alongside the characters experiencing what they were experiencing. As a matter of fact, some of the things that are presented in these fantasy worlds are not too far of a stretch for many of us to imagine and to see and to take the leap of faith that there's something real to this. There's some sort of nugget of wisdom. There's some kind of a breadcrumb of truth. It's just that usually when we watch the movie or we read the book, we just forget about it. We sigh this happy sigh. We're happy. We feel good. We were there with the character, and it was all too real. And then guess what? You put the book down and you look around and you're back here in what has been deemed reality. And honestly, it's kind of disappointing, isn't it? That's why I like to talk about these subjects that I talk about on my channel. For example, giants, titans, flat earth, gigantic trees, the silica age, elves, all of these wonderful and fantastic subjects that are presented to us in many movies and have survived through what seems to be some sort of collective subconscious of the population of our realm, because they keep coming up time after time after time again. And the more I study it and the more I see it for what it is and open myself to these possibilities of fantasy actually being reality, then the more meaning my life actually has acquired, and the more exciting this boring, mundane Gotham world we live in, it starts to bring color to it, and it starts to become more alive. And it's exciting for me, and that's why I like sharing these things with all of you out there as well. So today I'm going to be talking about mirror portals. In many of these books and movies, most notably Alice in Wonderland, we have the mirror. The symbol of the mirror being presented as something that people can actually pass through and enter into another realm, another dimension, usually some sort of wonderland, some sort of awe-inspiring, majestic place that's fantastic and unlike the world that we came from before we entered into that mirror. So a lot of people would say, oh, well, it's symbolic, you know. Obviously, we can't walk through mirrors, you know. Any idiot can look at a mirror and knock on it and see that it's hard, you know. But what if there's something to that? What if there's something to this concept of passing through this reflective surface and ending up in another fantastic realm or plane of existence or wonderland on the other side? It seems to permeate our popular culture enough to have some sort of a truth behind it. So in my walk, I've been studying all of the different aforementioned subjects: elves, flat earth, titans, various realms of existence and whatnot. And I have noticed a pattern that's being presented to us. Now, before I get into the many examples, and I'll start screen sharing here in a minute, I took some time to pull up some pictures. Please excuse me, I was going to make it a little more eye candy, you know, and have lots of cool videos and stuff for you guys, but maybe I'll make a more in-depth video about it. But right now it's just a live hangout, and I want to share these ideas with everybody. So before I get into sharing the pictures and all of the correlations, and also feel free to give examples in the chat room of movies that you've seen or books or TV shows where they present these concepts. Maybe I've left a few out that you can think of as well. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves with these examples. Now, I want to say this. In the conspiracy theory research realm that many of us have fallen into, this rabbit hole where things are not what they seem and the world is not as it's been presented, and there's something just itching at the back of our mind and we can't quite put our finger on it, and we find these clues in places like books and movies. It is my understanding that there are two powers at work, if you'd like to call them that. One of these powers tries to control the population. One of these powers tries to influence the population to get control over us, to use us as slaves, and to leech us of our energy, to supply them even more energy. The other power exists behind the scenes, and they drop these breadcrumbs purposefully our way in the hopes that those who are seeking the truth will stumble upon them. Well, I shouldn't say the hope. I should say the knowing, because this is a universal law. It's the law of attraction, knowing that those who are seeking after these truths, that it will be presented to them at just the right time. Hopefully, the time that we're spending together now is one of those times. So without further ado, let's look at some pictures and some examples of the mirror portals. And I'm going to, okay, maybe a little more ado. Maybe a little more ado, okay? I want to explain my theory first, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to make sense. My theory is that according to ancient writings that span time and cover all areas of the realm that we live on, all of these ancient cultures spoke of prehistory, of ancient times that are not taught about in our schools, and they're not given to us by professors and by the accepted, educated masses of the world. All of these cultures have their legends, and they have their myths, and they have their tales, their stories that have been passed down through either purposeful, either for the purpose of remembering through a story, or perhaps it's been passed down through a collective subconscious that we as a collective people remember. It's in there somewhere in our subconscious, in our minds, that these things have happened and they're not going to just go away. We cannot create energy or destroy energy. That's one of the scientific laws of that we are taught in schools. So what makes us think that we could destroy a memory or completely obliterate history? According to the law, it says that those things can't be created or destroyed. So we can't destroy these memories. They're there. And the more we try, the more the powers that be, for now, try to repress them and hide them and delete them and destroy them and burn them, the more it builds up like a volcano until one of these days, I believe, nation will just rise to the top. It will be common knowledge once again. And as a matter of fact, it will just flood out into the world. And people will grasp onto it and rejoice and be so happy because finally the truth has been made manifest and evident to us all. And it hits home. It feels good. When you hear the truth, when you hear something that makes sense, it just gets you right here. You're just like, wow. Like there's no need to get into debates and discussions. And sometimes something, you hear it and you're like, wow, yeah, that's got a vibe to it that resonates with me. And sometimes that's all the proof that you need. So let me show you some examples here of the waters above, right? I believe that there are waters above our realm of existence, oceans, if you will, great seas. Now, I don't know if they're made out of actual H2O water or if they're just water-like, if they're liquidy in substance. I'm still investigating. I'm still looking into what it could actually be composed of. But for right now, I'll just use the word water because that's what we're used to. That's what we can associate it with easily in our minds. Now, in addition to, mostly I'll be speaking about the waters above, but I also think that there's waters below, and that these waters act as barriers between various planes of existence. The higher up you go, or the lower down you go. And I'm going to give you some examples right now. I think that the waters are the mirrors that are presented to us in these legends and myths and stories and fairy tales and books and movies. I think that the waters are the reflective surface that we can look into and we can pass through in order to get past that barrier and enter into a wonderland or a neverland or a wonderful place, another realm or plane of existence. Let me give you some examples of some of the clues and breadcrumbs that have been given to us, for example, in things like movies. I'm going to screen share right now, so take a second just to pull it up. All right. I believe we are screen sharing now. So these are in no particular order, but this is a picture from the movie Pan. And Pan was the remake of Peter Pan here recently. And if you've seen this movie, it only shows the clip for a few seconds, but Peter Pan is snatched from Earth, from this realm of existence, and he's taken straight up into the air. And as they go up into so-called space, they end up crashing into an ocean above them. They go through the ocean and they pop out the other side, and they land in more waters in another ocean where they sail off to Neverland. So Peter Pan, who is an elf, by the way, side note, he goes straight up from our realm, from Middle Earth, where we live. He goes through an ocean, and he comes out the other side and lands in another ocean in another realm. Let's move on to the next one. BFG, big freaking giant, or big friendly giant, however you want to say it. This movie is so esoteric. I love it. It's a children's movie, but it's packed full of esoteric breadcrumbs for us to follow. Now, I pulled up this picture in particular, but there's actually a scene in the movie where this giant, right next to this tree, and in front of the Aurora Borealis, no less, there's a giant pond. And the giant goes into another realm by walking into the pond, and the girl jumps into the water and she pops out side, upside down to where they just were. She's in the realm of the giants. She's in a dream realm. She's in another plane of existence. They go through the water in BFG. Now, it's also just worthy of mention that BFG not only just has giants, but it has titans as well. It also basically points out, using a map, where the giants are from, and he basically says that they're from, he points right at the North Pole, and once they actually get there, of course, you have the Aurora Borealis and whatnot as well. So moving on to the next one, you might remember this iconic image from Pirates of the Caribbean. I believe it was called At World's End. Okay, it was called At World's End. Now, in this, Jack Sparrow has the pirates turn their ship upside down, which is what you see right here. The water is completely taking over the ship. But in the next scene, the water actually rises up, or at least they make it look like the water is rising up. It seems to me like the ship is actually moving downward. But the ship comes out the other side of the ocean, and it ends up right side up in another land, in Davy Jones' locker, in some fantasy realm. Moving on to the next one, another deeply esoteric movie and full of wonderful breadcrumbs about truth and hidden history is Moana. Now, this is a picture of Moana's realm of the monsters. Moana is trying to go to this realm of the monsters, this place. And in order to get there, she actually jumps into the top of this mountain, which happens to look exactly like the no forests on flat earth ancient giant trees, worthy of note. And as she goes down, she hits the ocean water on the Middle Earth realm that she lives in. She keeps going down through the ocean water until she comes out the other side, where there's an entirely different land. As you can see by the picture here, the waters are above in this world, right? And she plops down into this realm of the monsters, which happens to glow, just like in the Avatar world, this peaceful kind of purpley glow, which gets into the purple dawn theory, which I talk about in my other videos. All right, let's move on. We also have this Hennessy TV commercial, which is made popular by the Flat Earth community. Thank you all who have shared it. And they show right here, you see this picture of the Earth as it's presented by NASA with a nice curve to it. But right here in the middle is a balloon, and it holds Auguste Piccard. Any of you Star Trek fans out there, Auguste Piccard is who Captain Picard was named after. He went way up into the upper atmosphere into a balloon that looks just like this, and it held this little metal container where he was. And he went up and he basically said that he saw the Earth and it looked flat to him. Now, in the advertisement, he continues to go up. And this up here, these are the waters above. Captain Picard literally crashes into another ocean that's presented in this Hennessy commercial as being above the Earth, above Middle Earth, above this plane of existence that we currently live on. He crashes into this ocean and he ends up in another place where he sees other people in this ocean above him. Also worthy of mention is the Stargate in the popular movie and TV show named the very same, which is called Stargate. Now, in the Stargate, you have this little portal, right? This portal, if you walk through it, it takes you to these other worlds. This is literally a magic mirror on the wall. This is a reflective surface, but as you can see, they show it to you as being liquid form. They pass through this liquid form mirror, and they end up in other realms and in other lands. Also worthy of note is the movie The Matrix, where there's literally an Alice in Wonderland type scene where the main character, Neo, he's getting ready to unplug from the lame, boring world that he lives in and enter into the world of the real, the truth world. And as he's beginning his journey, there's a mirror in front of him. He reaches out to touch it, and sure enough, the mirror has this liquid consistency to it. I'm going to show you one last thing. This is going to be a quick video because I don't want, copyright strikes. But I'm going to show you Alice in Wonderland Part 2, the movie called, I believe it's called Through the Looking Glass. And in the movie, Alice not only passes through a mirror, and the mirror has this ripply, liquidy kind of wave action to it, but watch this. She's in this round vessel that takes her between two oceans. One ocean is below her, and another ocean is above her. As you can see, one ocean below, one ocean above. And in the movie, all she has to do is pass through either one, and she ends up in another realm, in another place. And I believe in the movie, she actually ends up in another time. But those are some of the examples that I wanted to share with everybody. Let me stop screen sharing here. I'll get back to Moana. If I can figure it out. 1 second. Okay, stop screen sharing. Oh, somebody mentioned in the chat, Tommy Lee and Blues Girl 65 were talking about Stranger Things. Stranger Things also has this sort of reverse world. I forgot what it's called. Maybe you guys remember in the chat. But they're in this sort of like upside down netherworld as well. Now that's an interesting one because they go through a tree. And if you haven't seen my tree portal theory video, I highly recommend it because there is something to all these movies offering us going through the trees as well as portals into other worlds. As a matter of fact, in the movie Moana, in Disney's Moana, she not only passes through a tree, but she goes through the waters below as well. So she goes through this giant silica age tree in order to get through into this other realm that we live in. What's up to everybody that's watching? There's 32 people watching right now. I want to say hello to everyone. Alpha Mia's is in the chat. Donald Putnam says no trees on flat earth. And Caslo the Psycho says yo, as well as Tommy Lee, of course, as usual. Good to see you all here. I'm gonna check my notes. We're going over some of the instances where we have been given these breadcrumbs and these nuggets of wisdom where they show us mirrors as a symbol for portals that we can pass through in order to get to other realms and other lands or planes of existence. Now, my theory is, and has been, that there are waters above us and waters below. Waters are the literal reflective surfaces, the mirrors that we can pass through in order to get to these other lands. Another good one I just thought of is the Neverending Story. In the movie The Neverending Story, one of the trials in order to get to where he's going, the main character, Atreyu, comes in front of, he arrives in front of this mirror. And all he has to do is just come face to face with himself, and he can pass right through it. Now, I think there's something to the whole coming face to face with yourself symbolism in the mirror portal theory. And what I believe that to be is we can't just enter into other realms without being prepared or without being ready. I would not want other beings coming into our realm if they weren't benevolent or loving or kind or giving. Would you? Now, unfortunately, we happen to live in a time in this particular realm where the energy is very thick. It's like mud. It's like swimming through the swamp of sadness. And you have to continuously think positive thoughts so that you can fly like Peter Pan and not sink into the mud and die. But what was my point? My point was, man, I totally forgot. Oh, yes, passing through the mirror, okay? I don't think that anybody can just pass through these boundaries and just go anytime you want to. I believe that these boundaries are energetically tuned, if not just straight up physical boundaries. But many of these mirror portals require a person to be pure of heart. Somebody who is ready to pass the test. Somebody who comes face to face with themselves. Have you ever looked into a mirror and just stared into your own eyes? Some people can't do it. I've done it my whole life because I'm so in awe with what's in there. When I look at a mirror, I mean, I see the physical body, but it looks so strange to me. I mean, I'm watching myself grow old. Like I can see myself changing, you know? And I'm going to do a video about me. And I'll give you a sneak peek. But the video I'm going to do is about being a Time Lord. And any of those out there who watch Doctor Who will know exactly what I'm talking about. But I digress. I look into the mirror and I can stare face to face. I can come face to face, come to terms with my inner self because I know who I am. I accept who I am. And I've seen all of my faults and I've shed them and let them go as I continuously grow, right? I know that if I go into another realm, I'm going there to add to the other realm, not go there to just take away. People that want to go to other realms and explore simply to just take away, even if you're only going there to see new things. When I say see new things, I mean your eyes are taking away. Your eyes are constantly sucking things in. Well, the question is, what are you going to give back? What are you going to contribute to a place to make it even more beautiful or peaceful or loving or amazing or majestic or awe-inspiring or fantastic? Those are the type of beings that I would welcome into our realm with open arms. So I would also in return, and I do also in return, expect to be welcomed into these other realms when I go, when the time comes. What else? Let me see. I've got some more notes here. Oh, of course. How can we not mention the Bible, right? When talking about the firmament or the waters above, of course, we need to mention the Bible. Also, we need to mention the Quran and, some various other writings of Hindu nature. All of these writings, all of these ancient religious texts. You see, now they're called religious texts. When in the past, they were absolutely not religious texts. They were sacred manuscripts. They were valuable writings, but they were by no means religious texts. Okay? But anyways, in the Bible, on day one of creating everything, the being that is doing the creating, who I have already equated to Enki and the elven race, aka all these other gods, whatever you want to call them God, angels, whatever you want to call them, creating stuff, they separated the waters from the waters. So imagine that. Everything was water, or whatever word they're using. Maybe it wasn't water. Maybe it was some sort of liquid material or some sort of thick ether or something of that nature. But let's just say it was water. They separated the water from the water, right? And there was waters above and there were waters below. And so it literally says that there are waters above in the Bible. Some people have stretched that out into a theory where they say that the world was once covered by a water canopy, and then something happened and the water canopy fell to earth or whatnot. I like where they were going with that, and I studied that and I looked into that. But now that I'm seeing things through a flat earth paradigm or a plane of existence paradigm, I see the waters above as literally being waters that are above us and us. Those are the mirrors, the reflective surfaces that we can pass through in order to get to Wonderland or Neverland. I mean, if you think about Peter Pan, his instructions are very clear on how to get to Neverland, right? And he says it's third star to the right, straight on till morning. You have to go up. Now, Neverland is covered by an ocean, okay? So if you're going to get to Neverland, you're going to go through an ocean. Let me see what else I've got. So yes, the Bible, the Quran, many other ancient religious texts mention the waters above us. And let me just check my notes again. Oh, I want to share a movie cover with you guys. I don't know how old everyone is, okay, but I'm old enough to remember a classic movie called Time Bandits. You what the cover of Time Bandits actually looks like. All right, one second. Screen here. All right, let me grab it real quick. True Hebrew says, J Dreamers, do you think that our oceans could have been frozen at some point in time and that made it easier to travel to different planes? Well, yeah, our oceans are frozen if you go that way. If you go that way, the oceans are frozen. As far as the ones above or below, I'm not too sure. But I do speculate rather strongly that these ancient giant beanstalks or silica trees or whatever we're going to call them that once shot up out of our realm, maybe they actually gave us passage to the land of the giants, or the Azir and the Vanir, or the gods who live above, or maybe even below us. Maybe that's where the tree portals come into play. But let me grab this movie cover. I want to show you guys real quick. Okay. Oh, let's show you this too. Okay, I'm coming. All right, I'm back. Okay, I actually have a special surprise for everybody who's watching right now. First, I'm going to show you my Time Bandits movie, okay? I don't know how many people out there have seen Time Bandits, but it's rather interesting. It's an older movie. I believe it came out in the 80s. And it's kind of British. You know, it's got Terry Gilliam and Michael Palin, Sean Connery, John Cleese. But anyways, here is the cover, right? And it's about these midgets, these tiny people, right? Who actually go through these portals and they end up in other lands, in other times, in other places. Now here's what the cover looks like. And let me know if you can see that. I know there's some reflection going on, but this is the cover. As you can see, there's the ocean here, right? And there's this sort of silica tree looking mountain thing that goes up into a literal like firmament. And there's a portal in that blue firmament above. And these portals open up in the sky there. And also, as you can see, there's a Titan in the water wearing this ship as a hat. So the Titan comes up from the waters below. The Titan comes up and enters into this realm in the movie. Anyways, it's kind of hard to describe. It's a very weird, strange movie, but I highly recommend it. You should definitely check out Time Bandits. A lot of weird and interesting stuff going on there. I want to share with you something I bought. This is unrelated to the topic, but it's also related to the topic. Book, okay? And check this out. Giants, right? This is a cool book. I might read this book to you guys one of these days. But this gives accounts of titans and giants from all around the realm. And it actually goes into all these stories about how these giants and titans existed. Now, the interesting thing is this is actually like, this was in a Christian bookstore, right? So you would expect it to only really talk about things from a Christian perspective, but it doesn't. This talks about giants that are mentioned and talked about all throughout history. The titans of old. Enoch's Book of the Giants, the legends of the Titans. See, just like in the Time Bandits movie, right? You've got this Titan coming up out of the water, right? And then check that out. Anyways, it's an extremely cool book, and I'm like stoked to have it. Makes for an excellent coffee table book. Now, anyways, I wanted to throw this out there. For those of you who are watching, if you ever have any instances, any breadcrumbs to share with me, please feel free to drop me a message here on YouTube in private messaging, or you can email me at jdreamers@protonmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to share all everyone else's examples as well. These are just my examples. These are only things I've come up with. And what I would really like to do to start doing is to get everybody else involved. I want all of you to get involved, to start sending me video clips or pictures or books or movies or other examples where we see all the things that I've been talking about in my various videos about flat earth or titans, giants, mud fossils, the elven race, the silica age, the giant trees or beanstalks or whatever we can call them that once existed, feel free to send me your information, and I'll be able to use them in future videos. Okay? So anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to share. I wanted to talk about, oh no, that's not all I wanted to share. I'm so confusing. Aren't I just so confusing? You never know. When's he gonna do his live hangout? Whenever he feels like it. Oh, I want to mention this, since I'm rambling now. Every Monday night, I'm going to try to do a live hangout every single Monday night around this time, hopefully about an hour earlier. And I also wanted to give a shout out to ODD Reality, aka ODD TV. I will be a special guest on ODD's new segment that he's doing called the Oddcast. And he's already interviewed about 3 or 4 different people right now. And we will be getting together Monday, October 16th in the evening or afternoon. I don't know the exact time yet. We haven't worked that out. But Monday the 16th, for now, is when he'll be interviewing me and asking more about my channel, the J Dreamers channel, and the subjects that I talk about. And so I have a lot to share, and I will be sharing a lot of the subjects and things that have been on my mind. And of course, he's going to ask a lot of interesting questions as well. So please do head over to his channel to check that out. If it's cool with him, which I'm sure it will be, I'll also mirror it over on my channel so you can check it out as well. I want to make sure. Oh, okay, so I did have another example. I mentioned Doctor Who earlier. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a secret, okay? I have not been talking about Doctor Who on purpose. Do you know why? Because I'm watching Doctor Who, okay? I don't want any spoilers for the seasons I have not yet seen, but I'm bursting to talk about this show. This show is highly esoteric. It has so many breadcrumbs of hidden truth that's in it. I will be talking about it. I will be doing a video called Being a Time Lord. And for those of you who watch Doctor Who, you know what that means. If you don't, I will be going into detail. But anyways, there's this Doctor Who episode that's relevant to the topic where Doctor Who fell onto a pirate ship, or he ended up on a pirate ship. And there was this siren, this sort of ethereal woman that was kind of haunting everything, right? Now, she could only appear through reflective surfaces. So all of the pirates on the ship made sure to go and hide all of the reflective surfaces, to throw all of the brass and all of the money and gold overboard, so that this siren, this sort of banshee ghost thing, couldn't enter into their plane of existence through the reflective surface. But guess what? The moon came out, and they were on a highly reflective ocean surface, and the banshee rose up through the waters and was able to enter into our plane of existence. Donald Putnam says, Flat Earth Music and Arts. Am I going? I have no idea what that's about. Honestly, while I am very much in the Flat Earth community, I also consider myself a sort of Flat Earth black sheep, because, and I'm very proud of it too, because I talk about things that not a lot of the other Flat Earthers talk about. You know, I'm going places where other people don't even want to consider going. I'm pushing boundaries because I don't believe in boundaries. And I'm going to push the idea of the fantastic until my world is fantastic. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat to questions and answers. And I'm sorry if I missed anybody in the chat so far. Sometimes I just get like really into what I'm saying, and I sort of like stop looking at the chat. So I apologize for that. So if anybody has any questions or wants to talk about anything that's related to the topic, let me know. Donald Putnam says FEMA Camp Denver, Colorado, November 4th and 5th. I'm out of the loop. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what that's about. North Nottingham Paranormal Investigator says, I watch ODD all the time. Jay will make a great guest on the show. Oh, thank you. That's very nice to hear that. I appreciate it. LR Elec says, what's up, Jay? Well, hello, LER. Oh, somebody had a comment about living in a domed world. FEMA inmates says, why do you look so similar to ODD? Are you related? Probably because I wear my hat backwards, just like he does. Which is funny because in my picture, I'm always trying to act cool, you know, in my little picture. That's a picture of me from like 10 years ago. Okay, that was young Jay Dreamers. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Gamma Doobie says, when you speak on a subject, do you actually investigate it thoroughly, or do you just make it up? I think that's a great question. On the other side of the coin, I absolutely do not want people to follow me. I don't want people to simply believe in the things that I'm offering out there. These are not things that I say 100%, this is the way that it is. I have all the answers. I've figured it out. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I'm saying the opposite, that no one has the answers, that life itself has been shattered like a puzzle, and all of the pieces are there, but it's up to us to try to figure out which piece goes to which piece. Now, logic is involved because you can see how the pieces physically connect, but sometimes you have to look at the picture. Sometimes you have to imagine what's not there and imagine what should be there. You have to use and balance the right side of the brain with the left side of the brain as well. And I think that the closer we come to restoring that balance, then the faster the pieces will be put together, and the quicker we'll start to get answers for ourselves. Not one person with all the answers who just gives the answers to everybody else, but lights that start to light up everywhere, and they encourage other people to let their light shine as well. And we all start investigating, and we can compare with one another the little breadcrumbs that we found in order to paint a more beautiful and better picture than the world that we live in today. I hope that's answered your question. Somebody said wrench me and I will share links. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, I can try that. Let me try it here. I'm not a big like wrenching type person, but I could do that since you asked. All right, there you go, buddy. So you are wrenched. Oops. And now I just totally messed up my chat. I don't. Sorry, give me one quick second. Oh, Miss Doll D says, watch Pan's Labyrinth. It's a great underworld elf movie. You know what? I absolutely will. Thank you for the suggestion. I will watch Pan's Labyrinth. I have to admit, I actually rented it from Blockbuster back a long time ago when we had this building called Blockbuster where we would go and rent these movies. Anyways, I rented Pan's Labyrinth, but I didn't know it was in Spanish, so I got all mad and I returned it without watching it. But I will check it out. Let's see. M. Jenkins says, good morning, Jay, from the UK. Great topics. Well, good morning to you, too. A FEMA inmate says, are there any new TV shows that I recommend? Well, as you all know, I'm not a big fan of watching the TV, nor am I a fan of TV shows, but there are great nuggets of wisdom should you be seeking the truth. I highly recommend watching the Shannara. Okay, the Shannara Chronicles is about elves in the future. It's about mankind and elves, and it's about an apocalyptic world, right? After some sort of future apocalypse has taken out most of humanity. That's a good one. Of course, there is Black Mirror. Black Mirror has a lot of interesting topics to consider. And also there is Stranger Things, which, by the way, Stranger Things is going to have its brand new second season at the end of the month, and I can't wait to watch it. Oh, Westworld, yes. Alpha Me is definitely Westworld. Westworld just, wow, that blows my mind. And I will be going to check out this movie that's coming out next year called Ready Player One. That looks like it has a lot of potential to have some cool breadcrumbs in it, as well as, I don't know if anyone has seen the new movie that just came out called Blade Runner 2000 and something, which is interesting. The original Blade Runner took place in 2018, and I will be making a video about my thoughts on next year, 2018. I actually have a prediction to make. Now, I'll just leave that one as a cliffhanger, but yeah. Prophet J says, can magic be used to open these portals, or do we have to find them? Both. Magic exists everywhere. You have magic inside of you. You are comprised of magic, and magic flows through your body and into your body every single day of your life. You can't escape magic. You cannot escape energy that connects all things, right? So yes, magic absolutely plays a part in passing through these mirror portals. And as far as you finding them, I would say follow the breadcrumbs. Personally, I'm going to be going to the North Pole, and I have no idea how to go up. So if you can give me an idea on how to actually go up, I don't know. But I will tell you this. I believe that the portals that exist above us will open up someday soon, and that maybe we will actually witness otherworldly beings come down through those portals. Some might think they'll be aliens. Some might think they'll be angels. Some might think they'll be an demonic elven race. But it's up to you to find them. And if you seek it, you will find it. Victor E. Supreme says, if you mean marijuana, that's not a drug. It's a natural medicine. Alpha Me says, magic is all around you, but you need to know how to feel it and set it free. Gimma Doobie says, I'm merely asking him a valid question. Go ahead and repeat your question because I obviously missed it. I'm totally open to questions. As long as they're relevant, to the topic, then I don't mind talking about it. C. Brunk says, Prophet, magic can be used to open portals. I'd like Jay to expand on the magic of mirrors. Julius Evolia states mirrors open portal and dimensions in his book on magic. I can see that. There's a lot of cultures that talk about how mirrors actually trap energy and they trap the soul. If you've seen Constantine, there's another mirror portal movie where I believe they used a mirror to actually trap like a demon. But that was symbolic, as someone coming face to face with themselves. When you come face to face with yourself, you see the demons that are inside of you. You see your good, your bad, and your ugly. And the mirror acts as a tool for you to come to terms with that, so that you can acknowledge those things about yourself, so that you can look yourself in the face and you can make the changes that need to be made, so that you can examine yourself. That's really what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, if you look at, what's the story of the ancient god who stared into his reflection in the water and he jumped into it and drowned? Narcissus, right? The ancient legend of Narcissus. Narcissus, that's where we get the word, oh, you're a narcissist. You know what I mean? But Narcissus is actually the equivalent, the Greek equivalent of the Hindu god Brahma, who is the creator of all things. Brahma created everything. But because Brahma is the equivalent of an all-encompassing God or an infinite energy, it can't really create anything because it is everything. All it can do is use this veil of forgetfulness to sort of imagine. So this creator God imagined existence, and then it decided to go ahead and forget who it was in order to enjoy the existence that it had created. And it jumped into it and played a role in that existence, which happens to be every role that's out there, including you and me and everything you see around you. And that's how narcissist stared at his own reflection and became enamored with himself and then fell into the water and drowned. Well, he didn't drown. You and I are very much alive, but we're on a path back to realizing who we are. And a part of it is fun. It's just fun. It's a great experience to just experience yourself. And that's one of the greatest truths that I believe that we can realize, is that when we have these experiences in the world that we live in, the world is really your mirror. The world, everything you see out there, is really in here. It's telling you about yourself, and you have the greatest time getting to know yourself. Oh, Game of Thrones. I have not seen Game of Thrones yet. So after I'm done watching Doctor Who, I fully intend on checking out Game of Thrones. Everybody tells me to watch it, so I'm going to have to watch it. Where do I live? I live in Colorado. Right now, it's freezing cold Colorado. All right, we're going to wrap it up. 5 more minutes for questions, and then we're going to close. We're going to blow this popsicle stand. Jen Murphy says, interesting, Jay. You got to call me, man. I don't know who would talk more, though. Well, I try really hard to make time to reach out to those who have reached out to me. If I don't get on it right away, please forgive me. But yes, I'm absolutely open to making friends. You know what I mean? All of you have the potential of being friends with me and vice versa. We can get to know each other. And one of these days, after I write my book, hopefully if it sells, maybe I'll be able to like actually travel the realm and come meet many of you and, you know, come talk about my book and my thoughts on life and stuff. That'd be awesome. FEMA asks about Nazis being in contact with other beings. Yes, there are other beings. They're called Supermen. Check out my video on Is Superman Real? And I will, that's basically what that's about, is the Superman. Okay, we're going to give it 1 more minute for any last questions or comments. There's 43 people watching right now. So all of you who are not in the chat, those of you who are just checking out, you know, listening to my words on a tablet or your phone or your TV, hello, hi, hello to you, you right there. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to my thoughts on the world that we live in and on myself and one another. That means a lot. And I wish you the very best on your journey, and believe that the law of attraction works in that if you seek the truth, if you're a truth seeker, it will be presented to you. It will be drawn to you at just the right time, in just the right amounts. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this every Monday night. And if you have anything to share, videos, pictures, things relevant to the topics that I talk about here on my channel, go ahead and email me at jdreamers@protonmail.com. And like I said, I would try my hardest to stay in contact with many of you as best as I can. Oh, and October 16th, I will be on ODD's channel, ODD Reality, I think that's the channel. It's either ODD TV or ODD Reality. But we're going to be doing like an interview style thing. He's going to be interviewing me, and I'll be on the show. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait. I'll have lots of caffeine beforehand, so I make sure I have plenty to say. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much. And in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.